you ready to go? All right, great. Good morning and welcome everyone to the Shedd Aquarium. My name is David Koo, and it is my distinct honor as board chair of Shedd Aquarium's Board of Trustees to be here today, representing the incredible work of this world-class organization. So on behalf of our 57 active and passionate trustees, our hundreds of community supporters, our incredible leadership team, guided by President and CEO, Dr. Bridget Coughlin, who I will welcome to the podium in a moment, and to our hundreds of passionate and committed staff and volunteers that work every day to spark compassion, curiosity, and conservation for the aquatic animal world, in order to create a future thriving with aquatic life supported by people who love, understand, and protect it. As trustees, we have the honor and obligation to steward the governance of this organization, its fiduciary accountability, and ensure its ethical integrity and responsibility. But if you were to ask any Shedd Aquarium board member, many of which are here today, they would also tell you with incredible pride about how they champion this mission of this special place on the lakefront. We are advocates for animals. They are fierce storytellers of the incredible impact Shedd is making. And so it is no surprise they are deeply invested. In fact, we have 100% trustee support and are unequivocally excited about the ambitions being shared with you today. The transformations that Dr. Bridget Coughlin will share with you in a moment are an exciting next chapter, part of the aquarium's visionary 2030 Centennial Commitment Strategic Plan, and the results of years of work into and out of a global pandemic on behalf of people, communities, and aquatic life. This investment is not only an investment in our building, in the 32,000 animals that call the Shedd home, in the nearly 2 million guests we welcome each year, 1/3 of them attending for free or at a reduced cost, or the hundreds of thousands of school children we serve each year, providing them the opportunity to look nature in the eye. This is an investment in our great state of Illinois. Thank you so much for being here, Governor Pritzker. This is an investment in our remarkable city of Chicago. Welcome, Mayor Johnson. We may be turning 100 years old in just a few years, but we are just getting started. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. I would now like to welcome and introduce Shedd Aquarium's distinguished leader, Dr. Bridget Coughlin.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, and thank you to all of you for coming today for this historic moment. As my mom, Mary Helen, would say, for us at Shedd Aquarium, this is a big deal day. But it's not just for Shedd Aquarium. It is for communities, for aquatic life, for Chicago, Illinois, and for this one, and we only have one, blue planet that we must call home and protect. I have the privilege of being the president and CEO at this important time, but my most important role is to be up here as a representative of hundreds of dedicated volunteers, dedicated staff. And so before we get on to the news of the day, I wanted just to pause and recognize my colleagues at the Shedd Aquarium team. You are all innovators, you are creators, you're change makers, you execute with fidelity, and you do it with a really good dose of humor. I would also like, yes. I'd like to take this moment to also recognize extended partners in this work, particularly program management company JLL, our general contractors Pepper Construction and Brown and Moman LLC, architects from Valero, DeWalt, and Train, and experienced designers Think Designs. These are top-flight blue ribbon firms that were joined by so many others that brought this vision to life, and as of today, one step closer to reality. Also here today are community and city partners. You helped us grow and stretch, you taught us, we heard your counsel, and for that, the Centennial commitment is all the better. We are particularly grateful to the Chicago Park District, Chicago Public Schools, the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities, and our local alderman, Lamont Robinson. Now, of course, nothing gets done without ambassadors, supporters, and financial backers. Join me, please, in recognizing some of our transformational supporters: the Harvey L. Miller Family Foundation, the Mansueto Foundation, Builders Initiative, and most recently, the Cynthia Parker Matthews Family Foundation, the Granger Foundation, Ken Griffin, Mike and Lindsay Kaiser, Anna and Bob Livingston, the Regenstein Foundation, the Searle Funds at Chicago Community Trust, and Mary and Stephen Byron Smith. Thank you for also being change makers. Okay, let's talk about why we are all here. It all begins with SHED's mission. I liken it to the 3 C's: compassion, curiosity, and conservation. The heart, the head, and the hands. And now, through the Centennial Commitment, our strategic plan, we can be more purposeful, more intentional, more equitable than ever before. The Centennial Commitment ensures that everyone is included in this groundswell of learning, connecting with nature, conservation, and listen to them, taking action for animals. The plan is a $500 million investment in programs, community partnerships, new galleries, and more. Now, you have already seen some elements of the Centennial Commitment. I've seen some of you in a kayak on the Chicago River in our Kayak for Conservation program, or teaching in our high school residency program called SHED Academy, or the far work in the Florida Keys restoring coral, or repopulating sharks in a shark sanctuary in Indonesia. But today, we're going to talk about the Centennial Commitment that is happening here on DeSable Lakeshore Drive. Each year, we welcome 2 million people, and we show them life beneath the waterline. And through our Centennial Commitment, we can do this more and bolder, and we have some glimpses of what that will look like. The Centennial Commitment will take 4 years and be done in 4 phases. And it's really important that you know we're always open. Literally, we are always open. I mean, barring a pandemic. Construction will begin very soon, and I'd like to show you a video and a glimpse of what this is going to look like. Like I stated, construction is going to begin in just a few weeks, fittingly with a new way to welcome guests in addition to our historic temple front staircase. But first, anyone visiting museum campus, come and explore our 4 acres of gardens, watch migratory birds, learn how native plants help pollinators, hear the buzz of SHED's beehives, and even taste a sample of honey. Gardens tended by paid interns are dedicated to growing vegetables for SHED's animals, and a reimagined entry pavilion will encompass the famous Man with Fish fountain, where these outdoor programs and animal encounters occur. A new joyful, seamless, and exciting arrival experience will become truly accessible for all. And once inside, overhead 1,600 schooling porcelain fish whisk you upstairs: sturgeon, walleye, and bluegill. They take you to where we are now, the Grand Hall. Here, guests have a space to gather, admire this historic architecture, and allow for cultural learning activities literally from around the globe. And speaking of learning, our experience evolution includes bringing learning classrooms up from out of the basement into this, a vibrant center. We are architecturally restoring 7 massive windows currently blocked by gift shop displays. This area will be the new home for the sunlit Lakeside Learning Studio space. Coupled with a suite of new education programs, we're going to dramatically increase the number of students we can see. The galleries are getting an evolution too. Under the historic rotunda, 2 massively high twin habitats have the interplay between fresh and salt water. Let's journey to the Amazon. In the Amazon gallery, you will come eye to eye with a 6-foot arapaima and hear the pop as the animal opens its mouth, creating a vacuum of water to suck in its prey. Nearby, you'll be able to test the electricity of your own beating heart and compare it to that of an electric eel. And how does the eel's voltage change? Is it hunting? Migrating? All signage will be available in both English and Spanish, ensuring that language is not a barrier to learning about the aquatic world. And exceptional animal care means innovative habitats that encourage animals to forage, dive, camouflage. Literally, on these new exhibits, you will be able to commune with animals at their biological level. We're also bringing science forward to help address important conservation issues, fostering a personal sense of responsibility and climate solutions. In this Changing Oceans Gallery, you are going to journey down the water column from the sunlit surface of the kelp forest down to the seafloor. Here you will see firsthand biodiversity of life and how it is sustained on Earth. Guests notice a temperature shift when they reach the cool seafloor where animals like giant spider crabs, slimy hagfish flourish, and then we will emerge back to the surface through a new 35-foot Caribbean tunnel with more water for animals like nickel, and majestic spotted eagle rays will glide ahead and land on the soft sand substrate below. This is our Centennial commitment. This is your new aquarium. These new learning spaces, the educational STEM programming, the galleries, will all be opening up over a series in the next 4 years. I cannot wait to see you there. And of course, the experience evolution and the Centennial commitment is rooted in conservation, curiosity, compassion. But it is also a literal financial investment in the city and in the state. After ribbon cutting, Shedd Aquarium's annual economic impact will grow to $410 million. We currently see 1 million guests from outside the state of Illinois, and we welcome them warmly. We've also self-imposed, and this is particularly important to me personally, significant diversity and inclusion business goals throughout this project, including labor and professional services, companies owned by minorities and women, labor, workforce, and youth development. We are going to ensure that this transformation benefits all Chicagoans for Chicagoans. And with that, I would like to welcome to say a few words, Illinois Governor, the Honorable J.B. Pritzker.
I have to say, coming to the Shedd Aquarium puts a smile on my face every time. And now seeing what the transformation is going to look like, I have something to imagine now for the next couple of years as we await its opening and the ribbon cutting. Thank you very much for introducing me, Bridget, and thanks for your kind words. And I want to thank David Koo and, of course, the mayor. We're all here this morning at one of the best aquariums in the entire world, one of the most visited sites in the entire country. And like I said, I always love coming here in part because it brings back memories for me of a great milestone in my life, and that was that it was here that I asked my wife, MK, to marry me. More importantly, she said yes, and she didn't make me swim for it. So it really is especially wonderful to be here on this important day for the Shedd. Nearly 100 years ago, just after its, thinking about its founding, we now can look at the Shedd Aquarium as a place that needs another centennial investment. And that's why this is so important. $250 million for the Experience Evolution, and it is truly living up to its longstanding tradition of going bigger and better than anyone has done before here at the Shed. It's all part of this $500 million Centennial commitment. This is a plan that brings all of Chicago, all of Illinois, and frankly, people from all over the world along with it. The Shed has long been a crown jewel that tourists from the world over come to visit. It's one of the reasons why I was so proud to launch our successful Middle of Everything tourism campaign here last year. There's probably no better place to show off what's great about Chicago and Illinois than here at the Shed Aquarium. Ever thinking about the future, Shed is building on its legacy, and in doing so, it's generating significant economic impact and jobs as its vision for itself in 2030 comes to life. Its latest expansion reminds us all why Shed leads on the national stage of conservation and environmental education, and ensures even more students from Illinois, from across the nation, from across the world will benefit from the ecological education that it provides right here. So to Bridget, to the board, to the committed investors in the future of Shed Aquarium, I want to just say thank you for making all of this possible for all of us and our families. So with that, I want to turn it over to the mayor of the best big city in the entire world, Brandon Johnson.
Thank you so much, Governor Pritzker, for that introduction. And good morning to everyone. Let me just first say that, Bridget, you have an opportunity to explore another industry. Didn't she narrate that video like nobody else? I mean, I don't know. Like I've heard Morgan Freeman narrate, but let me just say, if you just put a few books on tape, you might have something there. But thank you for your leadership, and I'm honored to be a part of this celebration, Shed Aquarium and this 2030 Centennial commitment. You know, it can't be overstated that the Shed Aquarium is certainly the crown jewel of our city and this state. Now, we refer to it as the crown jewel because we treasure it. It has tremendous value. You can feel the vibrancy in the atmosphere as soon as you cross the thresholds. You bring the city together. You bring this state together. You bring people around the world to this location. And as the governor indicated, but I'm going to say it my way, the city of Chicago is the greatest freaking city in the entire world. Now, the Shed doesn't just participate in wildlife conservation and research, but it's on the cutting edge of this research, furthering the Shed's mission to instill empathy towards aquatic life and a deeper connection to our planet. And the Shed engages with over half of CPS's students each year, not to mention the thousands of other students from across our region who visit the Shed. For all of these reasons and more, we treasure the Shed Aquarium. As I hear the children's voices in the background, it reminds me of how I would hear their voices while I was teaching middle school. Despite me talking, they continued to talk. But that's when you know learning is really taking place. And so with today's announcement, the Shed and its contributions to our city is going even further. And thank you for the board. Thank you for the partnerships with our Park District, with the Office of Mayor of Individuals with Disabilities, of course, Chicago Public Schools, working with my colleagues at City Council. Thank you, Alderman Robinson, for being here today. By modernizing and enhancing the aquarium experience, the Shed expects to bring tens of thousands of more visitors to our city every single year. That economic impact is what helps the city invest in its people, to further our commitment to make sure that communities across this city are fully supported. Speaking of investing in communities, this project will create economic opportunities for diverse contractors in Chicago. 50% of on-site labor will be dedicated to Chicago residents, and another 25% of that labor dedicated to minority and female workers. And with this transformation, the Shed continues to invest in our city's young people. I appreciate that. The renovations are expected to increase the number of students engaged from 180,000 to 230,000 students annually. And furthermore, the new Environmental Education and Access Initiative aims to serve school children in communities on the south and west sides of Chicago. This initiative will support 1.85 million predominantly Black and brown youth, 1 million teachers, mentors, caregivers through year 2030, learning and collaborating. That makeup of investments amongst our diverse communities is like what I refer to as the true soul of Chicago. Now, finally, the Centennial commitment will provide unprecedented opportunities to connect with nature and participate in environmental education for youth, for all visitors of the Shed. All in all, this is a great day for the Shed Aquarium and all of Chicago. I applaud the Shed for centering our young people, particularly those who come from historically disinvested communities. In the design that you are making a reality today, with the new exhibits and programs, spaces for learning will help lead the transformation to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. I speak on behalf of all of Chicago when I say I am excited to see this transformation because it furthers our city's status as a world-class destination and a beacon of innovation. Thank you to the Shed for this transformational investment. So all of our communities and people across the city of Chicago, we appreciate this work. And with that, the storyteller, Dr. Bridget Coghlan.
This concludes our press briefing. However, we invite you to explore the prototypes of the interactive exhibits, to talk to the education team, and of course, to meet Ivy, Wellington, Poblano, Serrano. At Shed Aquarium, we are animals first and animals always. You are part of this animal kingdom. You are part of this investment. Thank you, thank you, thank you.